We normally do these streams the night before the game, but in light of tomorrow's events, which is a travel day for me to Lincoln so I can actually watch this game, we're doing it one day early. But before we start the stream, I've got to start with a package that I got in the mail yesterday, and I've waited to open it until you guys were all here. So I'm not sure if you saw it. It was on Twitter probably 2 weeks ago. Well, it was because it was right before the season. It was kind of a season preview video we did together. The Husk guys, I think they're the #1 Nebraska football Twitter account. They've been going for like 10 years. They have 50,000+ followers. I've been using their snippets and graphics they've put up in their Twitter for the entire time I've had my channel. But anyway, we finally got on the same page. They reached out, had me on there. I think it was a live show on Twitter. I can't remember what it was exactly, but it was a show, and I had a really good conversation with them. They're very cool. I'm actually going to their tailgate on Saturday. But they sent me a box of Pipeline jerky, and I was like, wow, that's so nice of them. It's a gift box, so it's got multiple things in here. And I thought, if they're going to send this to me, because they just sent it out of the kindness of their hearts, I've got to at least show it on the stream, show them or show you guys what the contents of this box actually are. So they sent me a couple koozies, it looks like. Let me see if I can. Yeah, okay, we're good. Good angle. Sent me some stickers. And if you guys haven't heard of Pipeline Jerky, I know this is to support Nebraska's NIL front with the O-linemen. So yeah, this is a Pipeline Jerky large gift box. I'm sure if you go over to their website, there's an opportunity to purchase that over there. But here we go. They sent me 4 bags of jerky. Get to those in a second. And drop this box off, get this out the way. They sent me a Pipeline Jerky red t-shirt. So we're in the game. We're Pipeline Jerky official. I've heard a lot about it on Twitter. I've never purchased it myself just because I always get busy and caught up when I'm scrolling Twitter. I'm thinking about doing other things. But this is a really nice thing they sent over to me. And here it is. This is the packaging and the branding. It looks awesome. Looks like you got 3 cows on the front. This is the beef jerky, peppercorn. It says on the bag, Nebraska made, O-line approved. And then on the back, it says Pipeline Jerky, made for the O-line, by the O-line. In football, it starts up front. That's why we created Pipeline Jerky, a premium jerky made in Nebraska and supported by the current and future members of the offensive line. Our jerky is made with the same passion and dedication that the O-line brings to every game. We use only the finest ingredients and slow cook our jerky to perfection. The result is a delicious and satisfying snack that's sure to fuel your next workout or game day. So next time you look, or you're looking for a way to support the O-line, reach for a bag of Pipeline Jerky. It's the perfect way to show your pride and give back to the program that you love. Hog for the hogs, beef for the beef, Nebraska made, O-line approved. So yeah, this is the beef jerky, peppercorn, and they sent me the pork jerky, honey barbecue. So pretty awesome. I would try it right now, but here's the issue. I already have a lot of saliva going on. I can feel it. I've been drinking a lot of water today, trying to hydrate. Just got done with the gym. I know if I eat beef jerky, we're going to sit here for like 3 minutes while I'm trying to sort everything out in my mouth. And then it just turns into a mess, and I'm trying to talk, and I got to get the floss out. It's a whole production. So to save you guys from a mukbang, because I'm not a mukbang creator, I'm going to try this later, let you know how it tastes. But thank you, Dave. Thank you, Husk guys. And thank you, Pipeline Jerky, for sending this over. I can't wait to try it. And I think it's a really great way to support the Nebraska offensive line and their NIL efforts. So pretty awesome that we have people, fans, who are willing to go out there and create things to support the team that we love so much. That's one of my goals in the future. We'll see how long it takes me to get that done. But, NIL is the future at Nebraska and all of these other big-time universities. So awesome that they were able to send it. Anyway, tonight is an exciting night because I get to sit down and actually go through my chat. We usually have less people on these live streams. When I have a guest, it's complicated because I try to talk to the guests and give them as much attention as possible. I can't respond to everybody in chat. Obviously, after the games, there are a lot of people who tap in because it's a trending event and everybody wants to talk and get their voice heard. I can only respond to the ones that pop up with super chats because I've got to respect the people who are paying money, right? But tonight, it's usually more mellow. Right now, we've only got 200 people in here, so I'm able to actually respond to a lot of the chat. So it's exciting for me because I love communicating with you guys. 2 weeks ago, I'm going to get to chat, I promise. I got to get a couple things out the way. 2 weeks ago, I built a Nebraska football helmet, okay? It was this one, the NU logo on the side. I got the dark visor, and it's from the 2021 game against Buffalo. It came out great. It's sitting right up there, actually, on my shelf. It's like an art piece in my bedroom. I freaking love it. All in, that thing cost me, $700 or $800 to build. It was crazy. I made a whole video about it. And then I posted on my Instagram this photo and this video wearing it. My boy Braden actually filmed this video for me, and he did a pretty good job. I was like, oh man, I look like a little TikToker. But anyway, I decided that I wanted to do a giveaway. So you can see there's like a bunch of comments here, right? Well, these comments are all from you guys. They're from Nebraska fans and Corn Crate subscribers who were watching that video. And I told them, if you go comment on the video on my personal Instagram, that's where that is, then I'm going to pick 3 winners. One winner wins these signed JoJo Domann gloves that he wore in that game against Buffalo when they first wore that helmet. And then the other winners were going to win merch. So I'll send out a hoodie or a t-shirt. And the other one was going to be that same helmet, but in the mini size. You know those little ones that you can get autographed? I have another one of those I can send out. Anyway, Mitch won the gloves or the helmet. He's going to tell me which one he wants. I just DM'd him on Instagram. And then the other 2 winners, once I figure out what he wants, I'll DM them. And yeah, we got that out of the way. So I want to make sure you guys know when I do giveaways, I always send it out. I'm not one of those people who just wants to get you to comment on stuff and engage with me, and then I don't actually fulfill my promise. I've sent, I don't know how many hoodies and merch things out for free, probably like 50 to 100 to different, what is it? Like, I wouldn't call them competitions, like giveaways, I guess. I do little things here and there because I want to make sure that my audience knows and you guys know that I love you, and I respect that you guys are always tuned in with me and focused on making sure that you don't miss any of the content I drop. So I want to be able to give back as much as I can. Anyway, I've given away money. I've given away merch. I've given away some other stuff. It's been like 4 years of me kind of trying to run this channel, even though I've only been consistent for about the last 3 years, but I've given away a lot of stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna put these gloves on one more time actually before I send these out to Mitch, because these gloves are pretty damn cool. So they're pretty torn up. I think he wore these in multiple games, okay? You can see well, it's hard with the lighting. You can see they're banged up, right? He signed them. Guess how much I paid for these things? $30. I hit him up after the season and I said, JoJo, I need anything you got. And he's like, all right, well, I've got shorts and I've got gloves. God, these smell so rank. I've had them in a Ziploc bag since the end of the 21 season. So that's 22. It's damn near 3 years. They smell so bad. My hands are going to need to be washed after this, but that's it. The JoJo Domann glove fits me perfectly. It's got the XL right there. Pretty cool. But yeah, I'm going to send both of these. I don't know what he's going to do with them. You could frame them if you wanted. There's a lot of stuff you can do to make your memorabilia really stand out and pop. So hopefully he puts these to good use, because I'm parting way with something I treasured. Anyway, that's that. That's the giveaway. I'm glad we got that out the way, because I don't want you guys feeling like I don't actually fulfill my promises. Okay, let me get to a couple super chats real quick, and then we'll keep going on with the show. Donjay Films. Donjay is one of my really good friends. Donjay, I've known him for like 10 years. He's from Oregon, big Oregon Ducks fan. Like he was one of the few people in California who I could actually talk to about football. He followed it. So Donjay, out the blue, when Dion gets hired, becomes a Buffaloes fan. I'm like, Donjay, really? And I respect it. Dion has a lot of fantastic qualities. He's a super cool dude. When you listen to him talk on camera, you're like, damn, this guy's inspiring. He's motivational. He's exciting. And we've talked about it 100 times before. The guy's a marketing genius. So if I'm Donjay and I'm an Oregon fan, my second team is probably going to be Colorado. I totally get it, respect it. The only reason Colorado's not my team is because, you know, Nebraska and Colorado got that little rivalry going for how many ever hundreds of years. So Donjay, I like all the DMs you send me about the Colorado Nebraska stuff, but I disagree with you, and I full-heartedly believe Nebraska's going to kick their ass tomorrow. Next up, we've got Todd. Todd, he called me right before the stream, and I was like, hey, I got to get off the phone, but I'm working through getting this all set up, and he understood. But thank you for being in the chat. Thank you for the $10 super chat. He says, keep the nice for Sunday. God, that's what I like to hear. He says, be respectful, but it doesn't hurt to push buttons. I got your bread and butter when we get that running game back. 10% of my flour sales go to $18.90. I told you guys, he's a legit farmer. He's not like a pretend farmer who just wears the cowboy hat and the boots and then goes to a regular job. This dude's out there in the fields, on the combine, got his kids going to work. Todd, appreciate you, and I agree with you. Can't just be respectful, Nebraska nice. You got to push buttons. You got to mess with them, because I was at that Colorado game last year. People were screwing with me the whole entire time. Now, I didn't have any bad experiences, or nothing was too negative, or, you know, something that would make me triggered to where I'd have to respond. But there were things where I was like, oh, man, I just want to punch that guy in the face. Out of respect, I won't, but I wanted to. And I want to make sure we instill that in the Colorado fans who did it to us last year. So yeah, Nebraska nice can be safe for Sunday. I agree. Caden, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, storm the field or not. I'll tell you what, Adam Carricker came on my channel right before the season started, and he said something that I really believe in. Nebraska is supposed to be a blue blood. Nebraska is a traditional school who's won. They're a powerhouse. They don't need the gimmicks. They don't need the nonsense. They have been here before. We don't need alternate jerseys, and we damn sure don't need to be storming the field. Nebraska beating Colorado as a 7.5-point favorite would be an embarrassment. I remember last year at the Colorado game. Clock expired. I was already out of my seat. I was meeting up with my friends in the little concourse area, but I'm watching it on the screens, and Colorado fans start rushing the field when they beat Nebraska as a favorite. They beat Nebraska, who hasn't been to a bowl game in like 8 years, and they rushed the freaking field. Now, I get it. Colorado's a down bad program. Colorado's got nothing to look forward to. This is the only time in Colorado's last like 10 years where they feel like they could be a championship contender because they've got a coach who's motivating, inspiring, and his kids are so damn good that that they're making that school look like they got potential Heisman winners on that team, right? Colorado needs to do shit like that. I get it. But Nebraska, I don't want to talk too much shit because I know Nebraska's terrible. And in the kids' lifetimes who want to storm the field, all they know is Colorado football. Nebraska, ever since the college kids at Nebraska have been born, Nebraska has been the equivalent to Colorado. But that's not who we are deep down. That's not the identity of the program. And that's not the reason that Nebraska can land all these recruits and shit. Nebraska lands all these recruits, and they're able to do everything they're able to do financially in NIL and to inspire the older generation to continue to contribute because of what they were in years past. So let's not degrade and embarrass the Nebraska football program that was built by people, from the 70s, 80s, and 90s and turn it into Colorado. That's not who we are. That's not what should be going on in Lincoln, Nebraska. Storm fielding is for UCLA, Colorado, Maryland. Like, Nebraska storming a field as a 7.5-point favorite would actually piss me off. I would get on the stream and I'd be cussing out Nebraska fans. I can tell you that right now. Storm the field. And Caden, thank you for asking the question because it's a great question. And I've never given my thoughts on that, I don't think. Let me see right here. Todd, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, yes, I got a free hoodie from my super chats. Thanks, brother. Well, when you send as many super chats as you were sending, I'm telling you, Todd last year was firing. I mean, he was like a sponsor of my channel the way he was firing off 50, 100. I mean, he was coming hot. I had to send him a hoodie. Like, what are we talking about? James, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you for being a member. He says, what are your thoughts on what our defense will play? Man, zone, or a combination of both? I think you have to play both, right? Nebraska played a bit of both last season. They got burned in man. They got burned in zone. It's really tough when you're playing against extremely good receivers and a quarterback who can read any defense, right? So you got to mix it up. You got to try and keep things fresh. You don't want the guy to get into a rhythm against zone or into a rhythm against man and just know which guys he can beat. So I think Tony White's got this under control. He knows what didn't work last season. He's got his pieces up front, and he can use the second level to blitz and throw things off for Shador. I'm sure they're going to get to the quarterback just as much, if not more, than they did in that game in Boulder. I'm hoping that they turn into that bend, don't break defense again. And they can give up throws underneath. They can let Colorado get into the red zone. They can give up field goals, but don't be giving away those deep balls. Don't let Colorado score on a 2-minute drive, because the problem is team morale, right? You've got the offense who goes out. They're going to take long periods of time to make a drive. Nebraska's not scoring in 30 to 90 seconds. They're going to take on a series, they're going to take 2 to 3 first downs, march down the field, and burn clock. I'm guessing that's Matt Rule's game plan. If that's the case, if Nebraska scores 7 and it takes them 7 minutes, and then Colorado scores 7 and it only takes them 2, the offense has got to get back out there and do it again. I mean, I'm not saying that Nebraska can't do it. And if it did get into that kind of shootout game, I'm sure they would still win. But the idea is you don't want to be giving away 2 easy touchdowns and then having Nebraska's offense not have enough time to get reset. So I'm hoping the defense comes out, shows a little mix of everything. They get to Shador, and the bend don't break turns into some field goals. That's the hope. We'll see. Donjay says, I'm crying. Thank you, Donjay, for the $2 super chat. I'm glad you made it to the stream. This is Donjay's first stream joining my channel. He and I talk over Instagram all the time about college football, but he's now tapped in with Corn Crazed. Caleb, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the $10 super chat. He says, go Big Red. I think Nebraska will win with the time of possession by running the ball. And Nebraska never blitzed UTEP, so our blitz packages will be disguised. I agree with you. Nebraska, who said that yesterday? Was it Matt Rule who said in the presser? If Nebraska, or I don't know where I saw it now that I think about it. Someone said that they didn't blitz at all. And I remember watching the game and thinking they aren't doing too much on defense. It's very vanilla. So now that Colorado can't go and read back on that film, maybe gives Nebraska a little bit of an edge. The problem is Nebraska's defense is exactly the same as what it was last year. So yeah, they didn't do anything against UTEP, but Colorado's got 12 games to watch from last season. Regardless, can they stop it? No. Can they stop Nebraska blitzing with their DBs, linebackers, and whatever other edge rushers they want to throw out there to mix things up? No. Am I concerned about Colorado's offensive line? No. So whatever the case is, Caleb, I feel damn good just like you do. Jim, thank you for the $7.11. Safe trip tomorrow. Let's go 1-0 Saturday night. I appreciate you supporting always. Jim's been a loyal commenter forever. And I know his name because I remember he had to change his YouTube name when his account got lost. Jim, I always see you in the post-game live streams. I always appreciate you with your thoughts. I think Jim's a little bit older, so Jim's got some insight and perspective that some of us younger guys don't. That's why I appreciate reading his comments a lot of the time. Joel, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Looks like it's your third time super chatting me on a live. Thank you, Joel. I get your comments all the time, too. If I see something pop up, I'll respond to it. Go Big Red, David May. Thank you for the $20 super chat. He says, sorry, joining late. What mix of pass and run do you think Colorado will run? Same question for Nebraska. Okay, Colorado's easy. Colorado's 90-10. Colorado's going to throw the shit out of the ball. They have the two best, it's hard. They have arguably the two best quarterback receiver duo players in the entire country. Is it arguable, though? Who else would you say? Quinn Ewers and Isaiah Bond? I don't think they're better than Shedeur and Travis. I'm going to say the best. So they've got the best QB receiver duo. The receiver core is one of the best in the Big 12, if not one of the best in the entire country. Their running backs are questionable. Dallin Hayden came from Ohio State, where he played a little bit, but he didn't do anything against North Dakota State. Charlie Offenheim, I don't know his last name, Offerdell. It's like a long name. He was a walk-on. That guy didn't do anything against North Dakota State. Their offensive line isn't built to be a strong run game. So Colorado is 90-10 pass to run. Nebraska could be 50-50. Nebraska should be 50-50. But if Nebraska gets into a position where they know they can just run the ball down their throat and break that defensive front, it's going to be like 60-40, 65-35. I think in the perfect world, it's probably like 60-40. That's going to be what I'll go with for now. And hope Nebraska can just control the line of scrimmage and dominate that ass. Joel says, just stumbled on the chat. More good stuff that you're dishing out. We should stand above Colorado by keeping our classy nature, but still stomp on the field. Sorry, there's a lot of words in here. I'm trying to get all out. Yeah, I think always got to keep it classy. Always got to be respectful. I think, this brings up a point that came into my interview last night, the interview chat. So I attracted some Colorado fans last night to the interview with David Talks Buffs. If you guys haven't watched it, I interviewed him for like an hour. I basically got all of his insight and thoughts on the culture, the fan base, what's going on with Colorado's coaching staff and the players. He had a lot of good information to share, so he was a great guest. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. He's very cool. But last night, a couple people came into the chat, Colorado fans, and the energy instantly shifted to toxic. They brought up race and negativity and were saying Nebraska fans were terrible. Just all this stuff that doesn't align with my channel and doesn't align with my comment section. So I didn't even acknowledge it or respond to it, really. I kind of just dismissed it and moved on. But I did have some comments after it, and people were trying to bring race back in and tell me how all the people in my chat or on Twitter saying, and just nonsense, okay? The reason I bring this up is because I've built a really good community. And when you go to, this is what YouTubers usually do, right? They go and they build a community that's like them. People who are aligned, people who think similarly, right? People who, if I'm not obnoxious, not racist, not obscene, not an asshole, then most likely the people who are going to be attracted to me and want to be my friend don't fit any of those narratives either. So when people are coming into my chat and trying to say your audience or Nebraska or any of this stuff that I see is aligned with you and Corn Craze, it kind of pisses me off, right? So that's why I don't respond to any of the nonsense. But generally, what I see is a lot of positivity from the Nebraska side, and I see a lot of weird, negative, I don't know even what to call it. Just like the Colorado fans live in this weird world where they're all engaging in toxic behavior on Twitter, and I think part of it is because they feel like their coach is being attacked, so then they get defensive because they're insecure, and they go and attack other fan bases, and then other fan bases grill them, and they automatically think that because they're grilling them, it has to do with Deion's race or some nonsense. I say all of this to say, we have an amazing community. I haven't seen any negativity from my chat. And if I do, I have moderators or myself will go in and delete that stuff. So I just appreciate that what I see from Nebraska fans is positivity. What I see from Nebraska fans is like a family environment, even with outside people, like People who aren't Nebraska fans. You're an OU fan, come to our tailgate and drink with us. It feels like that's kind of the Big Ten energy in general, right? I go to Wisconsin games and guys are tossing me beers when I'm wearing full Nebraska outfits. I don't know what would happen at a Iowa game, but I know it like Ohio State, Wisconsin, Michigan, they're all super cool. So generally college football fans act like that, but I'm just glad that Nebraska fans typically keep it classy, even when people accuse us of not. Sorry, that was a long rant, but I had to get that off my chest because I was reading those comments last night and I was like, what the hell is this guy talking about? That doesn't align with who I am. So I think you're just making shit up, or that's what your perspective is and you're just engaging in the wrong communities. You need to block all that out and go and get with some good people because good people don't talk like that. Mike, thank you for the $10 super chat. He says, whoever wins the trenches will win this game. CU will get their yards with their offense, but we can control the tempo of the game and the clock with a running game and hanging onto the rock. Key word. Mike said it best. Hang on to the rock. Nebraska will not throw interceptions. Now, there could be a fluke incident. You'll watch last week, North Dakota State had a fluke interception on Shedeur. Not normal for him to throw picks. The guy is an exceptional decision maker. Shedeur throws a ball. It bounces off was it the DB's calf? I think the DB's calf when he was diving at the receiver. When it bounces, it goes in the air, and then the North Dakota State linebacker catches the interception in the end zone. Flukes like that are out of your control. The fluke that happened to Dylan Raiola in the spring game, when the ball bounced off his receiver's hands, you could say maybe Dylan threw it a little bit behind him, but in general, that's not Dylan's fault. The receiver should have caught that ball. So this week it'll be about the fumbles because those two quarterbacks don't turn it over. Maybe one of them throws a pick, but I think it's pretty unlikely. So hold on to the damn ball. Nebraska is known to fumble it with those running backs, or at least they have been for the past few years. Hopefully last weekend was just one bad play and not something that'll turn into a consistent problem. But I agree with you, Mike, on the same page. Old Hoss Radborn. Connor, are you going to the game on Saturday? Absolutely. I wouldn't miss it for the world. This is the biggest game in Nebraska, I've heard, since Miami 2014, since Michigan 2021. That was a pretty big game. I think Nebraska was a short dog, and they almost won that game. It was at night, electric environment. Wish I could have been there. Had to watch that one in Paris, 4 a.m. I literally was up till 4 or 5 a.m. watching that game, all to see them lose. And then you're so wired and jacked up, you try to go to sleep. Freaking hard to go to sleep when the sun's coming up and you're amped up because you're watching Nebraska in a dogfight with a top 5 Michigan team. Man, that was a rough year. 2021 was crazy. But yes, I will be there. Rod, thank you for the $10 super chat. He says DNs need to contain GBR. Absolutely. You know, Nebraska's got some exceptional defensive ends, and one guy who I think you've really got to pay respect to right now is MJ Sherman. He's technically the jack, so he's a linebacker, but he plays up on the line. You got two guys who play that position. I think it's Prince Will and him, right? Is it Cam Lenhart? No, it's Prince Will. So MJ Sherman on one play blew past the tackle. I think he stuffed the run, or it was the quarterback against UTEP. I can't remember what it was. Point is, there were question marks as to whether he was going to be the full-time starter this season because Prince Will had a pretty good 2023. He was a true freshman, but he still made an all-true freshman team, like a national team, and you know he showed out. But MJ stepped up, won the job in fall camp, came out as the starter last weekend, played pretty damn good, and yeah, I think Nebraska's got some ends and some guys who can pass rush that will cause a lot of problems for Colorado's passing game. At least I hope that's the case. Okay, I got a couple more chats here. I've got other stuff to talk about. I'm just trying to make sure I get to all the super chats. I don't want to leave you guys hanging. But I do see things in the chat that you guys want me to talk about that I am going to talk about. I promise I'm not ignoring all this stuff. DJ, thank you for being a member. Thank you for the $5 super chat. He says this game could very well be a turning point for Nebraska. Beating Colorado could give this team a lot of momentum heading into conference play. Dude, if Nebraska beats Colorado, they're going to be 6-1 or 7-0 going to Ohio State. There's a world where they lose to Colorado and then that's just some wake-up call, but I don't think that's the case. I think you lose to Colorado and we're talking more like a 7, maybe an 8-win team if things go really well. Beating Colorado, though, would totally shift the energy. It would give confidence to that room who needs it so badly. The players believe, but they haven't seen a big-time win yet, right? They need to see and feel what it's like, and then you go from, oh, well, we're a really good team to, oh, we could be great, right? Because right now they know they're really good. I don't know how good you could say because they beat up on Utah, but they do know they have talent in that room. So, turning point, bro. I agree with you. Miguel, thank you for the $5 super chat. It says, great to see you again. Still selling Corn Craze merch. I've got leftover Corn Craze merch. If you DM me, I have some stuff. I'm not making any new merch. I started a new business this last summer. Cost me a lot of money. And to do merch costs a lot of money. And it takes a lot of time, like packaging individual orders and all that. So to save myself and to be able to continue to run this channel and actually be able to make as much content as I want to make. Because you guys have seen this week, I dropped 2 videos and I did 2 live streams between Monday night and now. And that just, it's time consuming. It's a full-time job. So sending out merch and managing all my orders, just, it's a lot of work. So I have merch. If you hit me up and want to get merch, I sell all my merch super discounted. I mean, I sell it all the time. People hit me up and reach out for it. So I'll give you whatever I have if you want it. Just message me. Okay. Bill says 2.5 interceptions for Nebraska should be over or under. For Nebraska, meaning we'll say it's 4. So that means Nebraska has 2 picks. I think way under. I don't think either of these teams is going to throw an interception. I think if I was going to make the odds, I don't know what the odds actually are if you went and checked it like a site, but the odds would be like, plus 125 for a team to throw an interception in this game. I just think you're working with 2 quarterbacks who don't do that. You know what I mean? Burke, thank you for the $2 super chat. He says, are you doing a public meetup this weekend? Okay, I don't know what to do about Meetup. So I've done a couple meetups in the past. It was right after the games, but they were daytime games. So there was a lot of time left. This is going to be a night game, right? So after the game, it's going to be super crowded, super crazy. Do we do a meetup right outside the stadium for like 15 minutes before I go and do my live reaction? That's an option. Do we do something before the game? I just don't know the answer. I think before the game's tough. I'm going to go to 2 tailgates. Gonna have to be moving around a lot. I know Friday night I'll be in Lincoln. I'm gonna go to some bars. I mean, I don't know if it's easier to do, like message me and I'll let you guys know where I am throughout the day. Because I don't know how many people actually want to meet up. Like, is it 10 people? Is it 30 people? If there's 50 people who want to meet up, then we could say like, yeah, we'll do like a post-game meetup right outside the stadium. I just don't know how many people want to meet up this time. I don't know. I guess just let me know. If I get a lot of comments saying, let's do a meetup. Okay, here's what we're doing. We're putting a poll on the channel and on Instagram, and I'll say, do you guys want to meet up? And if I get enough interest in doing a meetup, then what we're going to do is we'll probably do a meetup right when the game ends. I think that's probably the best plan. It makes it easy because we're all going to be in one place at the same time. If I say before the game, people are scrambling around trying to park. You don't know what time people get there. If we say right after the game, we're all exiting and we can all get together at one time, get pictures, do the whole deal. That's probably the best idea. So right now, tentatively, let's plan for a post-game meetup. I'm going to confirm it on Instagram, in my community post on YouTube, and in Discord once we're 100% locked in for that. But if we get enough interest, we're good to go. We'll do it. Burke, thanks for asking the question because I have gotten a lot of questions about that and I haven't given a hard answer. I just haven't had a chance to think through it, James says, bro, you have the best channel. Thank you very much, James. I try my hardest to do it. LR22, going back to what I said earlier, he said, CU fans tried to say that we're the leaders of the KKK. I don't know what goes on Twitter. I don't pay attention. So I'm sure there are some people who are racist and act out and say crazy stuff on there. But in my chats, in my community, I know that's not happening because I would block that energy. That's not who I am. So why would it be who my people are? My people don't act that way because if they were my people, or if they acted that way, they wouldn't be my people. They would be blocked and exiled from my community. Mike, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, according to CU players, the noise won't affect them. I say challenge accepted. Here's a comment I saw pop up a few different times. They said, Connor, how are you going to be at the game and not yelling? Well, let me tell you, I really respect the audience who shows up to watch me perform after the show. I'm not the news. I am not the media. I am not the person you get your information from. If you want to get information or you want to learn about the team from like a news perspective, you go to Husker Online. You go to watch 93.7 or people who actually cover Nebraska. I don't cover Nebraska. I react. I'm an entertainer. I'm just a show clown, okay? I put on my Nebraska outfit. I come on here and I yell at you. Not yell at you, but I yell with you. And I voice your frustrations that you're feeling as well because we're all kind of in the same boat. So I'm like John Johnston. We both just rant and rave online and we're here for your entertainment. So it's hard for me to say, I'm going to go to a Nebraska game and yell. And then when everyone expects me, because there's like 1,000 people who are more than after the Colorado game, there are going to be thousands of people who expect me to put on a show, put on my effing clown costume. And I try to keep it PG for you guys, but it's really hard. I just talk the way I talk. Anyway, put on my clown costume and then yell and rant and rave. If my voice is gone, I can't do that. This week, I went to the USC game. I had a lot of money on USC money line, so I was yelling during that game, and I didn't have to make a video after, so it didn't matter, right? But anyway, I go to that USC game. I come home the next night and I make a video. My voice is so shot, it took me forever to make the video because while I'm recording, my voice keeps going out. Like I was literally losing it trying to talk. So I don't want to get into a position where I yell at this Colorado game, my voice is gone and it's strained like this, and I can't make a live reaction because I'm just so pumped to make a live reaction to Colorado. I'm so pumped to talk shit for, a good 45 minutes after that game ends. It's the best. One more note on reactions. I thought about this the other day. I haven't spoken on it. But Nebraska in the past has always been in positions where they're down bad and they make us really frustrated and we're in our feelings and emotions. At least I am. I'm a very emotional person when it comes to Nebraska football. You guys know this. I don't need to say it. So I learned how to do YouTube by being an emotional wreck. I'm built on being a crybaby. I'm built on whining and complaining. I don't want to say I'm the best at it. I think John Johnston's really freaking good doing it from his bathroom. But I'm really good at emotional reactions to Nebraska being a shitty football team. And last weekend when Nebraska beat UTEP, I'm not going to lie to you, I sat down and I was about to turn on my stream. I was like, what am I going to say? This is weird. I feel confident. I feel good about the team. I have optimistic eyes right now. And I'm like, how do I open this show? It was really freaking hard because it was so new for me. I've reacted to wins, but doubled with the win is a complaint. There's something I have to say that's, not the best. It's something that, I don't want to say bring down the energy, but, let us live in reality a little bit. No, maybe, this team won a game, but there are some other red flags here to look for. Anyway, it's getting harder now because I'm having to learn how to become a new streamer. I'm having to learn how to be excited, positive, and give you guys something different than what I usually am. Again, another long tangent. I have so many ideas that I don't get to talk to you guys about all the time because I'm not going live that much, or I haven't been going live that much. But now that we're back in the swing of things and we're connecting on a more regular basis, I can get all that out. Okay, wait. My chat went by too fast. I gotta scroll back up. Okay. Zach, thank you for the $2 super chat. Really quick, shout out Zach. He hit me up last night and he's like, hey, Zach's been subscribed to the Corn Craze channel forever. I mean, long time. He's always been DMing me. He's always been supportive. So Zach, and he's trying to do creative stuff. He's a really good graphic designer. Anyway, Zach hit me up and he's like, hey, I really want to play NCAA with you, the EA Sports football game. When can we play? So I was like, I get home from dinner tomorrow night, 10, 11 o'clock. I'm like, I can play tonight. We hop on, we go Nebraska versus Nebraska, neutral site game, no nonsense. And I think he thought, because when you watch me play the college football game when it released, I was terrible. Like I couldn't even work the controls. I think he thought I was going to be like that. I started off 28-7. I mean, I absolutely wrecked this kid. I was dropping deep balls to Jalen Lloyd, like 80-yard bombs over the top when he was in, I think he had quarters and he didn't have anybody defending the middle of the field. I mean, anything I wanted to do, I was doing. I was picking balls off with Gifford and with Javen Wright. I mean, I was running it. He came back. It was a close game, but I did end up beating him. So, Zach, thanks for playing me last night on NCAA. We'll have to get a rematch in, but you don't want to play me as Nebraska. I've gotten really good at that game. My defense is sick. My defense is Tony White caliber. He says, Iron N teased, welcome to your worst nightmare. So the Iron N used to have this big banner, and it was like black, and I think it had the skull and bones. Maybe there's a tease that's coming back this weekend. I don't know. There's another tease before I talk about more super chats. Let me talk about this one. We're already freaking 30 minutes into the show, and I'm just responding to chat, which I love doing, but I also want to share some stuff with you guys. Not that. This. So, news. Nebraska is bringing back touchdown balloons for Saturday's game against Colorado as Nebraska honors the 1994 national championship team. Going forward, we will consider bringing back the balloons for select special occasions. So maybe that means Nebraska's bringing them back once a year for a big deal. Maybe it's every couple years. I don't know. Regardless, balloons in Memorial Stadium Saturday night. Get freaking ready. It's going to be lit. It's been a long time since they've had them, and I love that tradition. It's one of the most special things about Nebraska. So bring back all the traditions. I love them. The balloons, most importantly. But yes, Iron Ed would be sick to see too. Husker Nation, thank you for the $10 super chat. He says, do you think Nebraska's defense will be enough to throw Shador off when he thrives in these environments like at Husker Stadium? Who do you think will cover Colorado running backs? I don't know. the answer to the running back question. I have no idea. I think in that position, you're looking at whoever comes up and plays. Like if they're in man-to-man, is it the rover who covers the running back out the backfield? Is it one of Nebraska's linebackers? I don't know. But I do think Shador thrives in pressure environments, especially like what Nebraska is going to bring. Shador is an NFL quarterback. He's going to make plays. There is no question about it. The problem isn't we need to contain Shador. You're not going to contain Shador. You're going to throw him off a little bit. But the real issue you have to be concerned about is making sure you bring those receivers down after they catch the ball. You do not want Jimmy Horn getting loose and going for 80 yards on you like he did against North Dakota State, or having Travis Hunter do what he did to Nebraska last year, where he's damn near brought down and then he does this spin move out and up the middle of the field and goes for like 30 yards. That's what I'm most concerned about, and I'm really hoping Nebraska finds a way to contain it. Love them knives. Thank you for the $5 super chat. If I see something from you, I will definitely respond. No comment right here though. Minnie says she can't wait for Saturday. Minnie, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Minnie, I think, wants to interview me tomorrow. I get up to Lincoln around 1 o'clock-ish, go to my hotel, then supposed to go meet Minnie at her hotel, and we're supposed to film an interview. I told her she could interview me. She wants to do it for the Coronation channel. If you guys haven't noticed, Minnie's been doing a lot of content with John over at Coronation. She's doing a great job. She's really insightful, and she cares about Nebraska football the same way everybody in the chat does. But yeah, she and I have become friends, and I told her she can interview me, so hopefully we get to do that tomorrow. Todd, thank you for the $20 super chat. He says, this crowd better make the 2014 Miami game look weak. Everybody's talking about the most important players. The 12th man is underrated. The 12th man is underrated from everybody talking about this game. Blow it up. It's true. The 12th man is massive in a lot of places around the country. At Texas A&M, it's huge. At Tennessee, it's huge. At Bama, at LSU, at Clemson. All of those schools dominate in home environments. If you go look at all their records, they are extremely successful when playing in their own stadium, especially at night. Nebraska hasn't had that luxury because only one group was doing their job. The Nebraska fans always do their job. At least they do until their spirits are broken, right? But Nebraska fans traditionally show up and show out. They're loud. They make the environment fun. It's exciting. Again, the most recent one was 2021 Michigan. It was insane. Now imagine a team who's competent, a team who executes, a team who has NFL potential, a team who has players out there who are going to go and make big plays and make sure they don't lose the game on some nonsense, right? That's when you start winning that, I don't know what you'd call it, the home field advantage margin, right? The home field advantage margin now flips from 50% of your home games or wins to like 90%. So, Todd, I think the fans are going to show up, as they always do. And this is a game where, why wouldn't they? This is going to be freaking huge. Nebraska's been begging for this. I have friends who aren't even Nebraska fans who are hitting me up and said, I want to go to this Nebraska game with you. I mean, this is going to be a big one. So 12th man's coming in clutch. It's just about the players. Players match the 12th man, and now we're going to start to see a swing. Oh, Nebraska can win at home. Oh, Nebraska does have home field advantage that they haven't had for the last 7 years. So bring it back. Logic's Finest says, I think this game will come down to time of possession. A stout defense is facing an elite passing offense. I'm not convinced the Colorado defense can get off the field. I agree with that analysis. I think that's kind of the point, right? Time of possession. Eat the clock. Don't give Colorado too many chances. Husker Nation, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, I almost feel like the hype of this game could be a runner-up to the game of the century. You know, I wasn't around for the game of the century. I know what happened after the game of the century. I know what it means to fans now. I told you guys I'm collecting football tickets now, right? And football ticket stubs, like old vintage ones. I found one from the game of the century. That ticket stub is $750 on eBay. It's PSA graded and everything. It's something I want. I didn't buy it yet, but it is something I want to buy eventually. I don't know how big that game was at the time. I just know what it means now in hindsight. But what it means in hindsight is pretty special, especially knowing that Nebraska was a national champion team that year, right? So, I don't know. Runner-up 2 would be strong. What other games would fall in that category? Runner-up. I mean, just being in the same conversation, it's a tough one. The other Dave, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, just bought my Pipeline Jerky gift box. Thanks for the tip. I love that. It's good when you can go and support on something you're already going to buy, because I already know 80% of the chat is buying beef jerky at the grocery store. At least I and all my friends do. So if you're already buying beef jerky, just go to Pipeline Jerky. Is it pipelinejerky.com? Let me check. I don't know. I don't want to screw this up. I want to make sure you guys know where to get it. My keyboard's off. There we go. Pipeline Jerky. All right, pipeline-jerky.com. Let's pull up the site. There it is. It's got Teddy Prohaska right there on the screen. Support the Huskers O-line. Get a little thing. And there it is. Shop gift boxes. Look at that. Turner, Teddy. And that's the gift box I got. I got that right there. So, great. Comes with 4 bags. Supports the team. I love it. Okay. Let's see. I'm seeing a lot of people say they want to meet up. Mike says, did you see how Colorado was trying to pump in crowd noise by pushing speakers around on carts? Yeah, I think they would need a lot more speakers than they were using out there on the field. They were using these little, I mean, they were big boom boxes, right? They were like 4 feet tall, and they were carting them around with those Home Depot little, I don't even know what you call those things, but those little, this is like a thing that's normal. Everyone uses this at their job. Like you pull it down and then you lug it around. That's what the Colorado coaching staff was doing. But yeah, they're not going to be able to echo or recreate that sound noise. Zach, thank you for the $5 super chat. Anybody else find it crazy that we had 0 blitzes against UTEP? I thought it was crazy. I'm not sure why they didn't want to blitz at all. It's not like they had anything to hide. We already knew that Nebraska was going to blitz Colorado, and there's already film on it. So why not just blitz UTEP in practice? I guess they just didn't need to. But yeah. Okay. Last one. I'm going to get to some other things I want to talk about. Todd, thank you for the $2 super chat. He says, time of possession in trenches, that's a wrap. All right, Todd, I like that you're saying it. I just hope you actually watch the game. Like I said before, Todd is the type of guy who will listen to the game from his tractor, but he won't actually watch. So I'm hoping you're watching, because it's going to be a damn good one tomorrow. Okay, let's get on to some other things. Let's talk about Colorado real quick. So Dion says he believes Shador and Travis should have swept the week 1 awards. Shouldn't those two be talked about all week? About the 2 leading Heisman guys? Or the weekly award should have gone to both of those guys? But it's almost like, no, we can't do that. Their coach is Deion Sanders. We can't do that. I'm not going to let him get away with that. This is a ridiculous take. Colorado dominates the headlines. Colorado is always talked about. Their players are always talked about. Every Heisman list that's out lists both of them. You're telling me they don't get enough coverage? This is the type of shit that bugs Nebraska fans. This is the type of stuff that pisses off everybody around the country. Really, Dion? You're complaining that these guys don't get enough attention? They're all that gets talked about. I respect that they get talked about that much. They deserve the hype. They deserve to be talked about like they are. But not enough? Ridiculous take, in my opinion. Okay, I'm going to the game on Saturday. I don't have tickets yet. So I was looking at prices because I went to the Colorado game last year. I paid like $300 for a single, and I paid for it after kickoff. It was like kickoff. I think they were 3 or 4 plays into the first drive. Then I pulled the trigger on a ticket for like $320 or something. Anyway, the prices were outrageous. It was one of the most expensive tickets I've ever paid for, especially after a game had already started. But you know, that's what hype is. That's the type of games I want to be at. So I'm at this game this weekend. I've been looking at what the prices are. You want to sit in the end zone? $285, $255. You want to sit on the 20 or the 30-yard line? $390 each. That'll be in like the 3rd row, so you won't even be able to see. If you sit below row 5, you can't even see anything because the players are up over, their heads are up, and you can't see. You're not going to be able to see over them. Section 20, this is the corner of the end zone, $280 each. These are tickets that should be like $120. So prices are outrageous. Here we go. Section 26, this is dead 50 in row 2. So you won't be able to see, but at least you're on the 50-yard line. $438 each. I'm scalping. So I'll be walking around. I'll look for tickets. I'm going to hold up 2 fingers, and I'm going to try to find mine. But yeah, the prices right now are through the roof for this game. Justifiably so. I think it makes sense, but crazy. Jacob, thank you for the $20 super chat. Thank you for being a member. He says, I've never been so fired up all week for a game in my life. I can only compare this feeling to big games I've played in. I've been locked in all week, and I need this win more than anything. I predict Nebraska wins 38-21 GBMFR. Yeah, I'm pretty damn hyped up too. The thing is, I'm not just hyped up this week. I've been jacked up for 7 months. I've been jacked up all year. I've been jacked up since I left Boulder last season, ready for freaking revenge. I think we all share that feeling, Jacob, and it feels really good to know Nebraska gets a chance. We live for one day on Saturday, or one Saturday out of the month every season, like one big game, right? Like Ohio State's a big game, but you don't consider it the Colorado matchup, right? USC a big game, but not the same energy. You're not going to be able to recreate this night game environment at Nebraska, for another whole year at least, another maybe 2 years. So I appreciate when these games do come around, and I look forward to them for months, 15, 16, 17 months in advance. I agree with you. Predict 38-21. Hey, 17-point win is not out of the cards. Nebraska's a 7.5-point favorite. I think that's a sign that Vegas is projecting Nebraska to blow the doors off these guys. If it happens, let's freaking go. Nebraska in a dominant victory would make me feel really damn good. Mike, thank you for the $2 super chat. Over under on if Nebraska has more sacks this year. I would take the under, okay? Colorado's offensive line is better. Shedeur is going to know that pressure's coming like crazy, and he's gotten better as a quarterback over the last season. He's more likely to throw balls away. The receivers, I think, are a little bit faster. At least they have a deeper room, so they're going to have more options to get the ball out to. I'd say under. Nebraska probably ends with 5 sacks because Shedeur, he's going to get the ball out quick to some other guys. I just had one pop up that I want to get back to, but chat scrolled down on me. Don't get me started. Here it is. Connor, here's the real question. What do you need to see in the next several weeks to be confident in a Nebraska win going into Ohio State? I say if we go undefeated into Ohio State, we stay that way. So I think back to 2016. Nebraska beat Indiana close. Nebraska beat Illinois close. Nebraska won a bunch of games close. And then they got to Ohio State. Was it Ohio State or Wisconsin first? Let's find out. 2016 Nebraska football schedule. In 2016, Nebraska played Oregon early on, and that gave you a lot of confidence. Then they played Wisconsin. And Wisconsin was a top 10 or top 11 team, and so was Nebraska. Nebraska was like 7, or Nebraska was 6, somewhere in that range. Wisconsin was 11. Nebraska lost that game in overtime. I still felt good about Ohio State the next week. I actually went to that game, took a friend with me. My dad came. And at that time, it felt like Nebraska had a chance. But what we learned in hindsight was they played a bunch of really crappy teams. And the lesson in that for me was, well, if Nebraska ever does this again, where they play a really crappy schedule leading up to it and the games are close and they don't look like a dominant performer in all those games, then I'm going to assume that Ohio State's still going to beat the brakes off them, right? So history is why I'm leaning into this idea, okay? But for what I have to see, if Nebraska's O-line stays healthy and they stay consistent, Nebraska's run game stays dominant, if Dylan Raiola continues to make good decisions, if the receivers are able to get open downfield and the receivers are able to block. I mean, last week it was, iffy blocking on some plays. Thomas only had a couple plays where he got tackled right away because the receivers weren't blocking for him. So Nebraska just needs to be a complete team. Their defense, I'm already confident in. They can hang with Ohio State, I think, to some degree. They'll come up with a few stops. But it's really the offense. Offensive line holding up, running backs continuing to look good, and then the receiving core paired with Dylan Raiola. That's what I need to see. 7-0 means nothing to me. It's all about how the team looks and plays. It's all possible. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. So, okay. A couple more things to get to. First, we've got a sponsor this year for our channel. And they're a huge support because what's happening is I'm making so much content that I don't have time to work on any of my other stuff. I'm so busy just making videos, writing videos, editing videos. I mean, the research that goes in to all of this. That's why I'm so appreciative when you guys subscribe and when you guys like and comment, because the hours that go into every single video I'm doing is insane. Anyway, with all of that said, YouTube, the best way to make money, the most profitable thing here is sponsorships. So this year, PrizePicks reached out. They said, hey, Connor, we love your audience. We think they're really engaged, and we know you love playing sports. We know you love online gaming, and we want to make sure that we can support you in any way since we know you're probably already using our website and our app. And I said, yeah, it sounds like a good deal. So they said, we're going to support you this year. We're going to give you your own promo code, and we're going to make sure that all of your subscribers can get a $50 bonus when they sign up and play $5. Play one $5 bet, you automatically get a $50 sign up bonus, and you can use that to play on their site. So Prize Picks has given me the code CORN, CORN, super easy. Just go to Prize Picks, make an account. When you go to make the account, it'll say promo code, type in CORN, and then make a $5 bet. That's all you have to make, $5. And they're going to give you an extra $50 in bonus credit. So I did it to test it to make sure it works. So I deposited $20. As soon as I deposited the 20 and I made a $5 play, then I got the $50 bonus credit. So it's that easy. With that said, they said, hey, make sure when you're going and doing your live streams, you share what your plays are so that your audience knows what some of the picks you like are. Not saying that I'm good at it or I know what I'm doing, but I want to make sure you guys see what I like for the weekend. So I've had a few good hits in the past. I've had a couple good hits in the past couple weeks. I hit one last week. I showed it in the video. And we're going to try and go for a couple more this week. So I want to start off with a Travis Hunter, 1000%. I'm going to use an NFL play, a free play with Caleb Williams to have more than one passing yard. I think I can use this one. You can only use this one once a week. I don't know if I've used it yet. We're going to try it. Then over at rushing yards, we'll go back to college football. Is this popular again? Yeah, popular. I want rushing yards. Okay. Actually, no, the one I want is receiving. Sorry. I want a running back for receiving yards. I want Donovan Edwards for 14.5 receiving yards. Big believer in Donovan Edwards. I think he's one of the best players on Michigan's team. He wasn't used that much last week. He had 0 receiving yards last week. You can see right here. But he actually had 0 in his last 3 games. But in a game where Michigan's going to have to pass the ball against Texas, who I'm assuming is going to do pretty well against them, I like Donovan Edwards. Okay. Then we're going to go to pass and rush. Where is it? Oh, rush and receiving. No, pass and rush. Here it is. We're going to go to Taylon Green, the Arkansas quarterback. He played at Boise, and he transferred into Arkansas. He's super fast. He had some really good plays last week, and I just think that he's going to have a good game. I'm going to go Cade McNamara, less pass and rush at 169.5. And do I do one more? Maybe we go with a Nebraska receiver here. Let's go with either Nayor or Banks. We can adjust Nayor. It's going to be less payout, but it'll be safer at 39.5 yards. Or we can do the 55. For Nayor, I think we go 55. Done. I'm going to bet 15 on this to win 375. And I can't do it because I had Caleb. So I'm taking Caleb out. Now we're going to add one more. You know who we add? We add the running back for NC State, I think. Is he a good one? Let me see what his number is. Cincinnati, Iowa State. Ooh, I changed my mind. There are 3 Nebraska running backs on here. Emmett Johnson, Dante Dowdell, and Ramir Johnson. Who do we like? 40 yards for Emmett Johnson. He's got to hit 41 for the more. Dante Dowdell's got to hit 37 for the more. Or Ramir Johnson's got to hit 39 for the more. I like Ramir Johnson, but I'm not going to play him. I'm going to play either Dante or Emmett. I kind of like Emmett. I think Emmett's a really balanced back, but Dante's a stud. We're going Dante. He's got less yards, and he played great last week. 15 to win 375 on this lineup. I'm going to post this in the Discord, guys. So I'm going to do another play here with you, and then the other plays I do for this weekend I'll put in the Discord. Let's do a passing yards play with Shador. We're just going to do one more, and we'll get back to the show. We're going to do Shador Sanders. We're going to drop this down, though, to only 250. Less payout, but I like it. We're going to do a receiving yards with Travis Hunter. Where is he? Or do we do it with Jimmy Horn? We did Travis Hunter last time. We do Jimmy Horn this time. We're going to do Jamal Banks. And we're going to do Jimmy Horn. Okay. And let's do one more. Pass TDs. I want Shador, 1.5. I like Dillon at 1.5, but I'm afraid Nebraska's going to get into position where they run the ball in plenty, and they won't need to throw for touchdowns, you know? So I'm going to stay off him. Colorado's only going to throw the ball. That's their bread and butter. They have to do it. So we're going passing with Shador. Okay, that gives us Shador, Jamal, Jimmy. So we have Shador yards, Shador touchdowns, Jimmy yards, and Jamal yards. 15 pays 60. Submit. So there you go. Cannot pick the same player twice. Okay, take Shador yards out. And we're going to do... Let's see, one more. Kind of like Malik Murphy to have a passing touchdown against Northwestern. He threw it a lot. He didn't run it at all last week. So if we do that... What's happening? I'm glitched out. I gotta reload. Thank you for bearing with me while I make my last Prize Picks play. We're skipping and moving on. You guys got to see the play. I'm gonna upload it to the Discord, but you guys did get to see what the play was. Anyway, we're gonna keep going. I want to read you guys the game prediction for Colorado from College Football News. Okay. It says, if Colorado's win over TCU last season made a splash, the 36-14 victory over Nebraska created a tidal wave. Freaking did. The sports world went prime crazy, and it's all still going. Not as crazy, but it is still going. This time around, both teams are expected to be good. Why Colorado will win? The passing game continues to be amazing. Don't let the 31-26 victory over an FCS school fool you. North Dakota State is good enough to win that natty, and Shador ripped it apart. He did do a pretty damn good job. 445 yards, I think 4 TDs. So there's no running game, but that's because the offense is put in the hands of number 2. Sanders completed 26 of 34 passes for 445 and 4 scores with 1 interception. Travis Hunter played like the best all-around player in college football, and Nebraska has to be ready to handle all of it. It's a better Husker team than the one that got rocked in Boulder, but the defense is still untested, and the offense has to prove it can keep up the pace without a slew of turnovers. Why Nebraska will win? Colorado didn't fix the glitches that turned the last season sour. How did it beat Nebraska last season? Yeah, Sanders was wonderful. He threw for almost 400, but the Huskers gave the ball away 4 times. That's still a concern with a freshman quarterback in the second game. Not a concern. But Dylan Raiola isn't just an average newbie. Far from average, far from a newbie. Raiola was terrific and poised against UTEP. The running game was good. The team played with more confidence than it showed in years. And who will win? Oh yeah, that whole Colorado not fixing the glitch thing. The defensive line was meh against NDSU. The offensive line continues to play like it's designed to get Sanders hit as many times as humanly possible, and there's going to be a huge time of possession disparity, what we've all been talking about in the chat. Nebraska had the ball for almost 39 minutes against UTEP. Colorado had the ball for 23 against NDSU. Sanders will come up with his yards and moments, but there won't be enough of them to overcome the lack of any ground game and a porous defense. The final prediction, Nebraska 38, Colorado 23. The line is at 7.5. The over-under is at 58.5. Interesting. Some people are on the buffs. Joel Klatt on the buffs. One guy I really respect, really like his commentary, but, you know, he's a homer. He played quarterback at Colorado back in the day, so It makes sense why he's on him. Mike, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, who would have led the team out of the tunnel? I think Sue would be a good choice. The Peter brothers or Grant Wistrom. Who would you have led the team? Who would you have lead the team out of the tunnel? I think Sue would be awesome. Probably Suey's the most notable. You want, when you're talking about leading a team out of a tunnel, you want a face who's really recognizable to the entire fan base, right? The Peter brothers and Grant Wistrom, a little bit older for the new people who are in the stadium. The student section wouldn't resonate with them as much, right? So I think you go more recent, and Sue's one of the best Nebraska players of all time. I think you'd go with him. That's a really good idea. Okay. I want to talk about some of the games this week. So we'll go to Big Ten first. So we've got Western Illinois at Indiana. Indiana should handle that. Duke at Northwestern. So Duke has Malik Murphy. Northwestern has Mike. What's his name? I'm going to check his name. His name is not even on one of these first cards, so he didn't do that great against Miami of Ohio, apparently. Mike Wright. Northwestern handled business at home. Miami, Ohio is not a bad football team. What is happening? I'm getting spam popping up. That's happened to me on ESPN the last couple days. I don't know if that happens to you, but weird spam things happen when I'm on ESPN's site. See? What is going on? ESPN's glitching. Okay. Next is Colorado, Nebraska. We talked about Texas, Michigan. Texas is a 7.5-point favorite. Tell you what, Michigan Michigan at home. Texas happened to be on the road. The line is saying Vegas thinks that Texas is going to go in there and crush them. Like that could be like a 14, 15-point win for Texas. I think Michigan's a really good football team on defense, and I don't know. I just feel like they're going to be able to smother Texas a little bit. And even though their offense won't be exceptional, they could potentially create a turnover. They could slow things down. And Texas's defense, at least the passing defense, wasn't that great. And that's Michigan's weakness. So maybe they can take advantage of that to some degree. I'm going to say Michigan keeps this one closer than 7.5. I think this is going to be like a 3-point game. And Michigan could possibly win. I'm not saying they're going to, but possibly. Michigan's a hard stadium to play in. That's a team with a lot of momentum, a lot of familiarity. Those guys have been playing with each other for a long time. A lot of NFL players. Got to put respect on Michigan's name. Bowling Green, Penn State, nothing. Rhode Island, Minnesota, nothing. You know, Minnesota feels like the new Nebraska. Minnesota feels like what Nebraska was last year when things, or not last year, 2022, when Frost got fired. Feels kind of like that. Just like, what hope is there? Their fan base isn't even bought in anymore. They're just kind of over it. They brought in this transfer quarterback. They thought they'd be good. They aren't. Rhode Island's going to get them right, though. And then the fans can get pumped up for about 5 minutes before they go into Big Ten play and finish the season winning 4 games. Akron plays Rutgers. Rutgers team, I'm really hoping, I don't think they'll be at 6-0 or whatever that record would be when they come to Lincoln, but I do think they'll be a 1-loss, maybe a 2-loss team, and it'll make for a really exciting matchup. So they'll crush Akron, obviously. Iowa State, Iowa, no idea what to expect here. I know Iowa State's missing like one of their best players, who's their middle linebacker, so Iowa should be able to just run it down their throat, which I'm sure they will. That's one of the reasons on my prize picks why I chose Cade McNamara under yards. I think that Iowa's going to run the ball a lot against Iowa State. I would love to see Iowa State win this game. I think Iowa State's a fun program, and obviously watching Iowa lose is always exciting. So assuming Iowa's going to win, because I think they've won like 7 of the last 8 or something stupid, but go Iowa State. Maryland, Michigan State, the battle of 2 teams I don't know much about. I didn't watch either of these games. I watched Michigan State just the very end against FAU, and they barely squeezed it out. But in all fairness, FAU is one of the better Group of 5 teams. So Maryland, I know they did look really good, so that's why they're a 10-point favorite. But in a battle of 2 teams who, I don't want to call them mid, but 2 average teams, I would think 10 is kind of a big spread. Probably say it's a little closer than that. Washington gets an easy one against Eastern Michigan. South Dakota plays Wisconsin. I believe South Dakota is the best team in the FCS. I don't know that to be true, but I do think they're the best team. Or is it South Dakota State? I don't know. Can't remember which one. It's either South Dakota State or South Dakota. But they play Wisconsin, so that's a tough test for Wisconsin, who didn't dominate their last game. They did it in the 4th quarter, but it wasn't like they came out and crushed Western Michigan. They took them time to create separation. Kansas plays at Illinois. Love Kansas. Hate Illinois. Hope Kansas crushes them. But playing on the road, always a tough game, especially at night in Illinois, so it could be a close game. Western Michigan, wow, what a schedule. They played at Wisconsin last week. Now they play at Ohio State in week 2. Wow. So there's a positive here, right? The positive is you get all that money from playing 2 big-time schools who are going to pay you, $4 million over the next 2 weeks. The downside is you get your freaking face kicked in back to back, in terms of size at least. And Wisconsin dominated them towards the end of that game. So now having to re-up and go to Columbus is like at night. That's back-to-back night games for them in Big Ten stadiums. RIP Western Michigan. Boise State plays at Oregon. Oregon a 21.5-point favorite after they barely beat Idaho, but I think that score against Idaho was a little deceiving. They had a lot of long drives. They did pretty well. It's just they could never cash in and score. So I'm sure they will crush Boise. Boise has one of the best running backs in the country, though. Ran for 200-something yards and 6 TDs last week. And then Utah State's at USC. USC's a 28.5-point favorite. I'm sure it's going to be a game where they get all their backups in, kind of like what Nebraska did last week against UTEP. But that's the Big Ten card. Pretty exciting. I mean, there's a couple games in there that are exciting. I would say the Northwestern Duke one's probably the best. And then outside of Michigan, Texas, and Nebraska. And maybe, I don't even know which one the other one would be. They're all kind of crap after that, other than Maryland, Michigan State. But something to watch. If you're not going to the Nebraska game, you'll have plenty of Big Ten football to watch on Saturday. Actually, even if you are going to the game, you'll be able to watch it at tailgates because we have so much time to kill before that game starts. Mike, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, who would you have lead? Oh, I already did this one. No, it's Brian who I had to get to. Brian, thank you for the $10 super chat. He says, long as the black shirts show up, we'll be fine. GBR. I like you and Adam Carricker linked up. Love content. Well, I'm glad that he and I can both bring you consistent stuff. We're doing it all the freaking time. I know Adam's back going strong. I did a video with him right before the season, and I'll probably do one with him when we get closer to the bye week or the middle of the season just to catch up. But it's good that Nebraska has so many content creators so you guys never get bored. How long have we been going? 1 hour and 7 minutes. It's been a great stream. So here's my game plan. We'll talk about it right now before we get out of here. Game plan is I'm going to bed tonight at 8:30 p.m. I have to because I got to wake up at 3:30 a.m. Get into LAX, flying from 5:15 to 10:30 a.m. When I get to Kansas City, we're driving up to Lincoln. I had to do it this way because there's no direct flight to Omaha. I would have had to stop, and I wouldn't have gotten to Lincoln until like 9 o'clock on Friday night, which I didn't want to do. I wanted to get there in the afternoon. So I'm driving, get to Lincoln sometime in the afternoon. Going to go connect with Minnie. Got a few other people I'm linking up with. Then we're doing a little bar meetup with me and John Johnson from Coordination, I think, down in the Haymarket. So I'll be out in the Haymarket on Friday night from like 7:30 until who knows what time, 2, I don't know. I'll be at a bunch of bars. I'll be moving around. This is my game plan. Probably just going where the wind takes me. But I will be in the Haymarket Friday night. Okay, that's the plan. Then Saturday morning, I've got 2 tailgates to hit. You guys see Rod in the chat all the time. Rod invited me to his tailgate. I met him once at a game. He ran into me last year, I think, at the Michigan game. He just ran into me randomly and said, hey, I got to get your number. I want you to come to a tailgate. So going to his tailgate. Then the Husk guys are having a tailgate. I'm going to their tailgate. So I'm going to link up with some people who I've been talking to online for a long time and get to shake hands and meet people, which is exciting because I love putting faces to names, as you know. Okay. Then I'll be moving around. I'm going to go look for tickets. I got to buy a couple off scalpers. So I'll be looking for tickets. I'm looking in my tickets where I got to sit is between the 20s, somewhere between row 5 and row 35. That's what I'm looking for. I think that's kind of the sweet spot, right? I don't want to be in the end zone. It's just not the view for me. I don't want to be too high up. I want to be in the lower bowl section so I get to look up and feel like I'm in the whole world, right? The Nebraska football world. So I'm looking for tickets like that. Goal is I'm going to try to spend $300 a ticket. And usually $300 a ticket gets you like the best seats in the stadium. But in a game like this, when you've got so much demand, it's a lot harder. We're going to figure it out regardless. No problem. Okay. Then I'm going to the game. After, I'm flirting with the idea of doing a meetup. We'll talk about that. I'll put the polls up and see if you guys want to do it. If there's enough interest, we'll do a meetup right after the game. And then Saturday night, I'll be out at the bars. I'll be hanging out. I'm going to do a live stream right before I go out. But then I'll be in the Haymarket again, hanging out with everybody who is in town. So that's the plan. The next time I'm going to talk to you guys is either in person when you run into me, and make sure you stop me and say hi, because I've had a lot of DMs where I'll go to Nebraska and then I get things on Instagram or Twitter or Discord and like, hey, I saw you doing XYZ, but I didn't want to like interrupt you or I didn't want to bother you. I love meeting you. Like, I'm not someone you have to worry about bothering. If I'm eating, you can come up and ask me for a picture. I don't care. Like, we could talk. So make sure we talk if you see me, and introduce yourself, because, like I said, this is a community where I like to meet you guys. It's not like you guys are my subscribers. I look at you as kind of my homies, you know? Anyway, so I'll be out there, can meet everybody, and have a really good time enjoying a Nebraska victory. That's the hope. And then after the game, I'll come do my live stream, and it'll be controlled, and it'll be a little recap of what I witnessed. So that's that. That's what I've got for you today. And Saturday we'll have some more. Monday we'll have more. And then we're off to the races for the rest of the season. 2-0 start, on to the AP poll rankings within 2 or 3 weeks from that. And Nebraska's going to be in a good position to make us all happy. Okay, I'm manifesting this. That's why I'm talking the way I'm talking. This isn't a prediction. It's just a manifestation. Okay, so that's that. Let me see here. Dakota, thank you for being a member for 23 months. He says, any injury updates on Vincent Jackson? Have not seen anything about injuries for Nebraska. I know nothing about it. I didn't even know Vincent Jackson was injured. Chance says, coming in late. What's up, Connor? New season. What a time to be alive. Man, it's a great time to be alive. Here you go. Minnie's popping it up. At 7:30 on Friday night, I'll be with John Johnston. I'll be with Minnie. I'll be with my friend Tyler, and whoever else wants to show up. We'll be at Kincaid's at 7:30. That's where I'm starting my night. So yeah, mark it. Kincaid's 7:30 p.m. If you want to say what's up to me or John Johnston or Minnie or whoever, that's a place where we can meet. So that's that. Okay. Well, with all that said, thank you for being here. I will see you in the next one. Go Big Red.